Good morning. We've got Scott Allen, the administrator for the Webster County Health Department. We're going to ask him some questions and hear what's going on there, as well as hear about Chris's mission trip to Bolivar, Missouri, right after this.
Oh.
And we're back right here on the Morning Waffle.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey Beth, good to see you as always.
Good morning, Beth.
On there.
She's on it.
It wasn't Bolivar.
Well, both are named after the great liberator Simon Bolivar.
Simon.
But
Yes, it is.
yeah,
The
it was
Bolivar Liberators.
Bolivia of South America, on the border of Brazil.
Right.
So it's good.
Cool.
Very
And who you got down there? Right. Sit by you, Chris.
Who's that guy?
Yeah.
Scott, how are you? We just met.
I'm great. You know,
We go way back.
We do go way back. I got to tell you guys that being an old guy and close to what retirement is supposed to look like, every day coming to work and doing the things that I do, I think that it's better than retirement's ever going to be. So
Yeah.
That's
it's
nice.
a blessing to be here.
I like
think
that.
I'm as
that.
retired as I'll ever get.
Yeah.
Probably. Chris probably too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Probably Lauren also.
Yeah,
Probably
I
not.
don't.
And,
When am I going to not do something?
That's right. Yeah.
That would be boring.
yeah.
Well-
The traditional concept of retirement sounds really boring to me, for sure.
Yeah, you don't want to get a schooner and go pick up count shells on the beach, as John Piper described in his
so much.
famous sermon.
Yeah.
Don't waste your life by John Piper.
The beach of Springfield Lake, which beach?
Moonshine Beach.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the spot. Okay,
That's the
let's not waste Scott's time since he's here with our waffling. But so Scott, tell the folks who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
So, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Allen. I'm the administrator for the Webster County Health Unit, and the significant amount of the folks who live in Rogersville, population-wise, live on the Webster County side. So
Yep.
we're your health department, and it's a pleasure to be able to serve. So thank you for hiring me and for being my bosses.
Oh,
Pretty
wow.
Thanks for crossing the county line into Greene County this
That's
morning.
right.
It's a pleasure.
You feel okay?
Step-
Yeah.
You don't feel
Right
in danger
over
or
here.
anything?
You know, I got to tell you guys, and one of the things that I hear over and over and over is that, you know, Webster County doesn't stop at the James River. So we still have this north and south thing going on, and kind of the same thing crossing county lines between Green. Anyhow,
Sure.
No, I mean, it all.
we're here to serve everyone.
Yeah, it's there's a north-south Webster County, I guess, but it's I think that's dying down a little bit. I think we're becoming more of a unified county.
Yeah.
That's good. But
Yeah.
so I found out all kinds of things from you already. Scott.
Well, that's why he's here, because I went to a city council meeting, or a board of aldermen meeting is the proper way to say it. And Scott spoke. He was highly entertaining and
well,
filled with good information.
that's what we're
So
looking for.
I put you up on a real tall
Nothing
pedestal.
like a-
This better be entertaining.
exactly. I need to
Hey,
dig
be
back
funny.
into
Be funny right
vaudeville
now.
days. Yeah.
Be funny right now. That's awesome.
Say something funny. Say something funny.
Oh goodness.
Oh, but no, you were, and you gave a lot of good information, but you kept it entertaining, so I continued to listen because, I mean,
Thank you.
let's be honest. You go to meetings and your brain tends to wander. And I was there rambling on for probably 20 minutes about things, and I'm sure people went
20,
off.
23 and a half, but
Yeah.
who's counting?
Beth says no pressure, by the way. So.
When I emailed him, I'm like, I'm the lady that
It was like, what a great opening act. Thanks.
That's great.
And I feel bad because I always end up at that meeting when the insurance guy comes once a year, and bless his heart, he does a wonderful job, and it wears a bow tie, which is also awesome.
Love it.
But his part of the segment is not interesting to me because it's about city health insurance, and I'm just. But yeah, it was a
not on
long
the plan,
meeting.
right?
I'm not on the
Yeah.
plan.
So his
it
bow
was a
tie
long
doesn't
meeting.
like squirt water out or anything like that?
No, but he
You
does
should
do a
work something
great
into his
job.
shtick there. Yeah.
It's just not an interesting
other
subject.
than with like a tux, I don't think I've ever been able to pull off a bow tie.
He pulls it off.
Just-
He
I'm
wears
not-
it well.
Not a bow tie.
So
guy.
yeah, if you went to that alderman meeting, which there was only a handful of people, you were highly entertained.
Well,
by
thank you.
different personalities.
Well, and part of the deal is, and I started with the health department in September of 2019, and that was going to be my cruise into retirement job, and the gal that hired me said, hey, look, this will be really easy, and we'll make it good and fun for you. And I said, hey, that's great, sign me up. And then the pandemic hit, and she left.
It has an easy
yeah.
So
and never to be seen again.
yeah, so our board
what's this
came to me
pandemic
and,
you speak
and
of?
said, well, you have healthcare management experience, don't you? And I said, well, yeah, the emergency medical services. My background is EMS. I was a paramedic for 41 years, taught it for
Oh,
21
wow.
years. And they said, well, that sounds like health. You can run a health department, can't you? And I said, well, I'm not sure. And here I am. So
I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I'll try.
I've only met one other person that I'm aware of that has the educational background to run a county health department.
Who dat?
He's sitting right
He was
there.
right there.
oh, is that
Degrees
right?
in.
Well, we need to talk.
There's a
He's looking for a
succession
job,
plan.
so this is great.
Oh, is that? Let's talk when we go off air.
We can do this right now. This might be the most entertaining thing ever.
He's in insurance currently.
Yeah.
Great.
So, and one of the things, one of the reasons I was at the Board of Aldermen meeting is early on when I started, actually before the pandemic hit, I did an event out in Fordland, and talking about health education, and after I was done presenting, one of our county commissioners came up to me and he said, hey, I want you to know we really appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting next to a friend of mine, and he said, who'd that fellow say he was with? And he said, well, he's with our health department. He said, well, you mean Greene County? He said, we don't have a health department in Webster County. And I've kind of taken that to heart as my marching orders. So
Yeah.
I think that it's really important to get out and meet folks and listen to what people
Yes.
in the communities that we serve have to say. I think that's a big,
Well,
important
we're
part
happy
of our
to
job.
serve. There are 5 more people now that know because you've been on our show.
Yeah. Well, there's
about-
7 now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting.
7. We're up
Well,
to
and
7.
I've seen you at chamber meetings, so you attend those from time to time. I mean, that's good.
I do.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, and this is certainly, I think, a much higher level of television, but I wound up waking up one
The
morning and
highest.
seeing myself on the Today Show during the pandemic. It's like, what in the world just happened to me?
What?
Wow.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, and they just picks up a local feed.
Yeah.
Sure.
But and so much of what people saw of us during the pandemic was so politicized.
Oh, yeah.
Again, it's a matter of getting out and letting folks know what we really do, what we're all about, and how we serve the people of Webster County. Actually, to that end, and we can go to a cheap, shameless plug.
Sure,
That's good.
absolutely.
That's
We're all
fine.
about
One out
the
of the
old
old
Not,
radio
yeah,
Yeah.
we're definitely not about that.
No.
So
No.
we're doing our first
Beth.
lunch and listen this afternoon, and we'll do that at noon at our office. Our board chairman, who's elected by the people of Webster County, and I are going to just sit in the room for an hour and listen to anything anybody has to say.
Ooh,
So,
that'll be fun for you guys.
What's,
yeah,
what's
I
for
think
lunch?
so.
That will be. That's a great idea.
What's for lunch?
It's bring your own lunch.
Oh, BYOL.
Remember,
Yeah.
we're tax supported, so we need to be good stewards of
That's
the people's
good.
money.
Thank
Oh,
you.
well, that's very nice. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Imagine that. Wow.
that.
That's
Yeah.
Beth said she
incredible.
loves the
Yeah.
mobile health units. They're great people.
Well, and
That is
that's
a
the
neat
good thing
thing
about having a conservative manage a governmental agency is that I really take to heart that deal of who I work for and whose money we're spending when we spend a penny.
Yeah, you
Weird
actually said that
concept.
several times already this morning. That's
It's a
your
strange
focus.
I can't say
concept.
enough
Appreciate
how
that.
much I appreciate that mentality.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
it's really incredible. And the idea of listening, and that's something that I think we all long for, is to know that government agencies are actually listening rather than telling all the time. So thank you and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, awesome.
Webster County very soon is going to have 2 license bureaus,
Which is very exciting.
which is exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Webster County doesn't have an urgent care center.
I know this came up recently,
So,
and I hadn't
so
even
that's
thought about
something.
that.
So these are the things that we're looking at is what can we do to make these, really big kind of generational impacts, if you
Yeah.
will,
Yeah.
in the county. The health department's been around for 66 years. We've always done things the kind of the same way, and it's time to change that.
Well, that's interesting that you bring up the urgent care facility, and you may not know the answer to this question, but I know here in Rogersville, the one we're part of the Cox network. We can get to the one in Ozark in about 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
Right.
I love it because it's not crowded, and so that's the one I tend to hit. But if you were on the eastern, northern side of the county, do you know where like the closest one to Gizzard? Like,
Here it would be Lebanon or Springfield.
Yeah.
okay.
So Marshfield didn't have them.
Marshfield, no, nowhere in the county.
Mountain.
I would
Mountain
have
Grove?
thought. I would have thought there was one.
Grove.
Well, that's a
somewhere.
good
Wright
drive,
County.
I guess.
I don't believe
Yeah.
Mountain Grove.
So Mountain Grove
Well,
or-
Mountain Grove, I think may have.
I don't
one,
know.
I didn't know
Good
from
clip.
Incredible.
the eastern side of the county if that might be closer than Springfield.
Well, and I'm so ingrained to go to Springfield for anything medical that somebody recently asked, like, what are some of the things that we could do to improve health in Webster County? And I was thought this, walking trails, things like that. And someone immediately said urgent care, and I'm like, I hadn't even thought about that,
Yeah.
that because I'm so ingrained not to even realize because there's not an option not to go anywhere, just go to Springfield. So that would be a wonderful thing.
Is
Well,
there a path to getting that done, to doing that, or I don't know?
rolling up my sleeve.
Okay, all right. Well, you got them halfway there already, I see.
So,
that's-
and one of the things that we can kind of rest our laurels on is the fact that there's a national county health ranking every year, and Webster County is in the top 25th percentile of the healthiest counties in Missouri. So that's something
good.
that we're real proud of, and that really goes to the services that we have available. Unfortunately, we're in the bottom 50th percentile of needing to do things. So
Yeah,
As far
that
as
makes
catching
sense.
up with
getting caught up,
what you
yeah.
have
So
available.
still a lot of issues with tobacco use, still a lot of issues
Yeah.
with teen pregnancies, substance use is an issue for us. So and then behavioral health availability.
Yes.
That's a huge issue that we're working on now, and we're making some great strides in that.
Beth asked there about the clinic in Fordland, not urgent care. No, I don't think it's not urgent
They're
care.
not. No, and actually, I was asked about a year ago to serve on their board. So that's something that we're talking about. Fordland has a new administrator as well.
It looks like they've been expanding. I mean, they've been working
Oh
on
yeah,
expanding
yeah,
the
they're
building.
doing a lot of good things.
They do a lot of
It's
services.
Just urgent care hasn't been one of those things. And again, kind of going back to my days in the emergency medical services, how long can you hold your breath, or how long
Yeah.
do you really want to sit in a car when you're just feeling like crud,
Yeah.
trying to get to an urgent care clinic?
So I'm guessing the difference between just a clinic and urgent care is hours of operation. Is that really the main difference?
No, actually, level of service provided.
Okay.
So you can get a lot more done generally at an urgent care clinic.
Okay.
I will say that Fordland has X-ray and labs and all that sort
Okay.
of thing, but a lot of doctors' offices
I
don't.
got a splinter
That's interesting.
removed from my toe in Ozark one time.
There you go.
Yeah.
That must have
You
been
have
a
pictures?
bad splinter.
Yeah.
No, but I did hear. I mean, it was a good one, and which is why I went down there because I couldn't. I got to the point where I couldn't get it out myself because of all the blood. I couldn't see it. It was
Ew.
too slippery anymore. So I went down there, and they stuck a needle in my big toe, and they gave me the deadened it.
Yeah.
And I hear the guy walking outside. He's like, "Yeah, I just pulled a log out of that guy's toe because he's outside." I'm like,
That's
"Yeah, that's
awesome.
exactly what it was." But yeah, so they can do that
man.
at urgent care. I don't know if they would do that at a clinic.
Will only
Quit shooting
you
your
would
potato
have to,
gun without shoes on, man. Come
That's
on.
what it was, man. The potato shard hit me right in the toe. Don't wear sandals.
Never seen nothing like it before.
That's your Webster County judge right there, folks.
There you go.
Just Rogersville.
Oh, sorry. Just
Oh,
Rogersville. My
that's
bad.
so great.
So,
man.
and one of the other things that we've found is that for so long the health department was really looked at as Marshfield's health department. So that was
Yeah.
where you went for all these services, and we were fortunate to be able to obtain grant funding to stand up a mobile unit that actually is going to be here in Rogersville today. So
good.
for the last year, we've been out in Rogersville twice a month and serving the people of Rogersville.
Well, that's one thing I think that I have noticed has changed over the last 20, 30 years that I've been here is, like in the state of Missouri, if you're in Jefferson City, they talk about St. Louis, Kansas City, and outstate.
Right.
I mean, that's the language. It's like there's the cities and the
don't
people we
like
don't
that.
care about.
Yeah, imagine.
And to some extent, I think Webster County was like that in the 90s. It was like Marshfield and everybody else.
Right.
And what happened in Marshfield was about Marshfield, for Marshfield, and the rest of the county didn't really matter. And I've really seen a big change in that. You know,
That's good.
In the early 2000s, we elected a sheriff from Rogersville. It's my dad. And we just started seeing people from the rest of the county start to get into some public offices. Roy is a Rogersville guy, or sheriff now.
Right.
So I just think the rest of the county is seeing a lot more representation. So I think we're seeing a lot more
That's
county-wide emphasis, which is great.
I think that's important in a rural county. I mean, you think about Springfield, it's Springfield Greene County Health Department.
Yeah.
You know, Springfield drives everything
Right.
in Greene
Yes.
County, and I think that would be
really
frustrating.
irritates Republic.
Well, yeah, or us
And
on this
Fairgrove.
side of Rogersville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
the building we own is in
Greene
Greene
County.
County, and so I have to play by all of Springfield's rules, and Springfield creates a lot of rules that maybe aren't necessary for us. But anyway, that's another story for another day.
appropriate.
Yeah, but it's it's great that you're expanding the view beyond Marshfield, beyond the county seat.
Thank you. Yeah, it's important to our team. So we're actually in 3 locations in the southern part, actually now 6 locations in the southern part of the county, twice a month. Beginning today, we're actually, when we're down here, we're going to start spending time at the senior housing complexes.
Good.
So we'll go
That'd
over
be
there.
really good. Yeah.
So we've been out to visit, and we'll actually be doing home visits there, and really digging down to
Yeah.
some of the folks that really need our services.
So what kind of services are provided by the mobile health unit? I don't know.
They're doing everything that we do out of the health department, with the exception of WIC and vital records, and stay tuned for information on those.
Okay.
So we're doing, we have a full range of vaccines that we carry with us. So again, another cheap shameless plug. It's back to school time, so time to
Yep.
get your kiddos up to speed on their vaccines.
And the mobile health unit can do that.
Mobile health unit can do that.
Awesome.
We,
good to
if
know.
someone has an order to have labs drawn, we can do that through the mobile health unit.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
we actually, here in Rogersville, had a call from someone who was asking about the services we provide, and they were going to have to take off half a day to go into Springfield and get labs drawn.
Mm-hmm.
And they were able to, instead of taking off half a day, they were able to come to the mobile unit when we were here in town, sitting in front of the pharmacy, get their labs drawn, and they were back to work during their lunch break.
That's really good to know about the labs.
great service.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's
Yeah.
very interesting.
You may not know this either, and I'm not even sure it's part of the health department, but I was informed by our guy that does the show on Monday mornings. He's a Medicare advocate. He was telling me that Webster County has a program where elderly or infirm folks can get a government a benefit of like an in-home health helper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, you do know. Awesome. Tell me about that, please.
Absolutely. So, and Webster County has a very robust senior citizens tax board. So there's a small senior citizens tax, and then the board really does a lot to reinvest that money in Webster County.
Good.
So, yeah.
I like the visiting the senior housing. I think that's really important. Something
it is.
I'm seeing in real estate world is you're getting out into people's homes, and a lot of times you're discovering people aren't really in the best living conditions.
Oh, sure.
And it was something that when we were at that board meeting the other day, I was talking about dilapidated properties, and I don't think people realize that, that house sits there and it looks bad and it's in bad shape. That house is making waves across the neighbors and the city that it's in, because if you've got a house that's not being properly cared for, and especially sad times, people living in those poor conditions, you have increased pests and other things that are going on that affect your neighbors, and of course obviously the health of the individual in the home is a sad
Exactly.
situation. It really is.
That's what I was going to say. Seeing that house that's run down is really the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly.
It's everything that's beneath the surface. So once you get
Yes.
inside and you see those seniors who are, or may not be seniors, maybe
Yeah.
somebody having a lot of times behavioral health challenges in their
Yep.
life that just isn't capable of getting through that day-to-day kind of activity.
Yep.
And those are the folks that we're really trying to reach.
Yep. And it happens, it affects our school districts. There's a lot of things going on where it's really important. The health of the home is a big deal. And I
absolutely.
didn't express that very well in the meeting the other night because I had so much information. I felt like I wanted to get out there, but it really does extend far beyond just the look of the house. It's a big deal.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
It's almost like we need to get into our minds this idea. You check on your neighbors.
Please check on your
make,
neighbors.
Yeah, don't make
Yeah.
assumptions like, man.
Yeah.
worthless people. They're ruining the value of my home. Look what they're doing to theirs. Well, go check, go help. You know, I mean,
is that love your neighbor, Pastor?
well, it is. It's pretty foundational, believer or not, in Christ. You know, I mean, it's. We've got, we had storm damage like everybody else.
It was a hot mess.
A couple of days ago. Well, yesterday, I guess that was.
A big old mess.
It was pretty neat to go out and walk my street and see a bunch of neighbors in somebody's yard of somebody who's on vacation.
Yeah,
that's limbs
wonderful.
down. They're going to come home from vacation and their limbs are taken care of. But that's the kind of mentality we need to have, and especially when you talk about somebody dealing with, mental health, aging people who can't get out and deal with things. Like, have that mentality. How can I be a good neighbor and go check in? And it's awesome to get to know you, because now they have a face and a contact. If you recognize somebody in your neighborhood that needs help, make a phone call, get them, connected.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
And we're available to help just anytime. And again, that kind of outreach. For community events. Actually, we're going to be down here for the back to school bash in the park.
Yay!
So we'll be available. So again, public health is not something you do out of an office. And actually, since I'm an old man and I tell stories, do I have time for a story, or we have something?
Yeah, but before you do that, can you give us a phone number, and I'm going to see if Peter can pop it up on the screen for us.
Sure. Yeah, we're at area code 417-859-2532. Give us a call with your requests.
This one's going out.
That's right. 859-2532.
In his best Casey Kasem voice.
859.
Yes.
There we go.
We'll get that right on the
He's
screen.
brilliant. Where's he get that
Oh,
from?
there it is. Look at that.
Hey,
Ooh, that's
great.
fancy.
I claim the alpha nerd status in my family. All the other nerds are,
Alpha nerd?
Alpha nerd, yeah.
What?
Progenitor.
Very random.
Yeah. No, it comes up all the time. Yeah, but your story.
So my and this is kind of, you see things in life that really resonate with you. So my parents in retirement built a very successful sporting goods business, and one summer had my boys working for them. And one day at dinner, my father told the boys to look under their chairs, and they kind of felt under their chairs. There wasn't anything under their chair. So he said, they said, there's nothing there. And he said, what did I tell you to do? Oh, look under our chairs. So they got up, they turned their chairs over, and tucked into a corner of each chair, there was a $1 bill. They said, well, that's nice, but what's that for?
Yeah.
And he said, that's so that you know that in life, to make a buck, you got to get off your butt.
That's good advice.
Good advice.
And really, when you think about it, the same applies to health. So we don't do health sitting in an office. Health is something that we do for a whole county. And we don't do that sitting in an office. So we're really, we've been blessed, like I said, a year ago to get that mobile unit, and we're really kind of kicking that into high gear on getting it even more utilized in the community.
That's great. Very good stuff.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, Chris, tell us about...
Yeah, Chris, we need to hear a recap of your big adventure.
Scott, feel free to jump in anytime.
Yeah,
please do.
No, we had a great trip. For those of you that don't know, I spent a week and a half in Bolivia, the country, not the city north of Springfield, Bolivia, on the border of Brazil. And there's a current orphanage that we've partnered with. They're just doing fantastic work. In Bolivia, when a child goes into the orphanage, there's no hope of adoption. They have to see them all the way through. And so essentially the orphanage is responsible for reintroducing them back into society. And so they're doing a great job with that. I mean, they talk about the structure there as being a family, and it really is. So you've got 4 homes, all that have somewhere between 15 to, say, 22 kids, and they've got parents in the homes with their own children. And just to watch them integrate their family to this new family, they truly, I think it's the happiest place on earth. I mean, these kids understand what they've been rescued from, and they truly appreciate the love that they're receiving from the orphanage there. And so it's a Christian school set up in the orphanage. They all attend church together, and so these kids they're learning about Christ. They're learning about how to be a family. They're learning how to, just survive and succeed as adults. And so one of the neat things we did was at the current site was we were finishing out what they're calling the phasing out unit. So these kids that are 18, 19, every 19-year-old boy has to go 1 year military service.
Oh,
So
wow.
when they come back from that, they're trying to figure out what's next.
That's not a bad plan.
Not a bad plan at all. I kept
Really.
my boys are 19, my twins, and they were on the trip, and so I kept every time we'd see a military base, I was like, think about this.
That
If
could
you
be
lived
you.
here, that could be you
Yeah.
right now. And yeah, so the phasing out home, they'll still have host parents, but they won't be on top of them
Sure.
quite like they are in the orphanage, but helping them go to university, helping them get a job, introducing them into adulthood, because a lot of these kids they were behind when they came in, right?
Sure.
So now they're getting caught up. They don't have anything other than what they have at the orphanage. So it's pretty neat, the pathway. And so now it's reproducible. They've finished the whole thing. A year and a half ago when we went, we set up their bakery and their coffee shop. So that's 2 ways that they can get employment.
You know something about coffee shops?
Yeah, a thing or two. Yeah, we
strange.
actually helped them get that set up, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's really amazing watching these kids succeed. And so now we were an hour away in a town called Riberalta, which is what they call the gateway to the Amazon. And so we started work on the new orphanage. So the concept they've built in Guayrar, they're now putting in Riberalta, and then hopefully also in Costa Rica. So there's a couple other sites coming up.
Seems
But
like we should put that concept in place here.
it
Well,
really is.
that's what I was going to say. It's interesting as someone who's in that world, and we think about, you talk about these things happening in other countries, places we think of as third world countries, but we're dealing with the very same issues here.
Absolutely.
That when a kid ages out of foster care,
Yeah.
what do they have lying in store for them? Who's going to
Exactly.
get them into that? So that's a huge issue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
other than let's kick the can down the road, let's have a plan for what comes next. And-
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
that's,
we don't do that.
There's no plan.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to do that.
somebody else
Come
can deal with
on.
that tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Borrow
what
more
that's-
money.
That's why we as a church chose to jump in, because we saw, okay, this has a plan and it's reproducible. And so we're all in on it because we want to be a part of the next project, and we want to
That's
continue to
awesome.
see it go forward. So, but it is in a third world country. It's a country that's becoming more and more socialized. Socialism's taken over. In Riberalta, the first 2 days we couldn't get there because there were riots in the street, and the people there are very friendly. We never felt in danger, but the people are pushing against the government, and we found out why. There was some illegal mining going on in Riberalta, and the way the government dealt with it was these mining boats that didn't have their permits or whatever. The government just decided to bomb them, and so there were 30 men, women, and children who
gosh.
lost their lives
Wow.
because the government said, "Hey, you're doing this the wrong way. This is how we deal with you."
And I would,
my
I would
goodness.
assume that a bribe would have probably taken care of that.
Probably
Yeah.
anything, right?
Yeah.
But that's the kind of corruption you see, and so again, it's safe. Like as Americans to go over there, we never. The people are amazing. We never felt like, oh man, watch out, lock
Yeah.
the doors. It was very safe, but you just know that the government is controlling things and pulling the strings in their own little way.
And did you get opportunity to meet their health director while you were down there? The director of their health department?
I didn't, but I will tell you, there were 3. There was a delegation of 3 that came to visit the orphanage on our first day there, and they were very much one dealt with the school. I think one did deal somewhat with public health. I don't know what the title was, but essentially what they were doing was saying they were being proactive. Hey, come see what we do. And see how this works. We say we're a family. Now come see it. And all 3 of them left going, wow, this is the happiest place on earth.
Nice.
Right.
Which was important because there is a judge in town that has been causing them trouble.
Oh,
They've had a
good grief.
great rapport with the government officials.
I'll go next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Send Will.
Probably refuse to wear a suit.
Yeah, that's right. Something like that.
You know how they are.
Yeah. So it was interesting to watch a little bit of the local government play out.
Don't you love the people that step in front of progress? They're like, no. We
Well,
don't
that's
want
the
to do
thing.
this.
I mean, this is a new judge, and she's trying to get her name out there, and she just is causing them all kinds of trouble.
It's
But
ridiculous.
the relationships they had in that small town were overcoming that, right? And so
Yep.
they were able to bring in the right people and say, hey, when she starts giving us trouble, we want you guys to see how awesome this place is.
Yep.
It's interesting because you talk about what happens through collaboration, and we're very fortunate in Webster County to have an organization called the Webster County Community Partnership, and Unity is capitalized. And we meet once a month. It really started out as a drug prevention coalition, but then has grown to a way for those of us in health, behavioral health, and social services to get together once a month And there is so much good that comes out of that collaboration for the people of Webster County. And it's all done behind the scenes. So all that you know is that you wake up and you're healthy, wealthy, and wise, and it's a good day in Webster County. What you don't see is all of the folks who really do roll up their sleeves. So it's great to hear that those kind of things are happening all over the world. And
It's good.
Yeah.
Well, and to the extent that people want to, need to, should know about things like that, we love to talk about those kind of stories.
Sure.
Yes, people know what's
about
going on.
Webster County and
Well, it gives me hope, right? Like I lose hope when I look at the federal government, but
Yeah.
I have hope when I see that on the local level, it's still working the right way. You're describing the people coming together,
Exactly.
and a partnership with local officials versus, hey, we got it. You guys sit back.
Yeah. So,
We don't need to hear
well,
from you.
and my background is emergency services, and most of that time has been in rural communities. And so the good news is, I tell people that when the big one hits, when a significant event happens, there's going to be just tons and tons and tons of resources and thousands of people coming to Webster County. The bad news is they're all going to be going through Webster County, stopping in Joplin, Springfield, and Branson.
Yeah.
So we're completely on our own. And
Yep.
it's building those connections, those networks ahead of time that really makes things come together for a county like this.
well, that's really awesome.
Well, and it's getting hard enough in the world to get things done and make big waves. You have to work together on it. The more
Exactly.
people you have involved, the more minds you can get on something. PTA is doing one of our biggest events of the year on Saturday, and it's been months of preparation. And we've got the Best Foot Forward event on Saturday, and of course the churches have all gathered to do the backpack program in the parking lot at the Upper Elementary in Rogersville, and then PTA is going to be in the FEMA building. And I mean, we've purchased 500 new pairs of shoes, and we've purchased. I mean,
Love
it's thousands of articles of clothing and toothpaste and all of these things so you're going to be able to go there that day.
Go ahead and put the plug out there. Give
Yes.
people the time and the location.
Yes, so it's going to be at the Upper Elementary in Rogersville, and it's going to be from 10 a.m. to noon this Saturday. That's the only time frame, and you're going to have to get in line, so be patient. You're going to go through the parking lot. That's where our local churches are going to have the backpacks and school supplies that you're going to need, as well as some other things. I believe Care to Learn is going to be there with hygiene kits. And then you're going to come over to the FEMA build gym. That's where you're going to be able to get shoes, some more hygiene items, and then the Wildcat Closet will be open as well. We have several volunteers that
What's
help
the
with
date
that.
on that?
That's this Saturday.
This coming
This Saturday.
Saturday. It's the
Okay.
5th.
And we have how many people from the federal government that are putting this on?
I haven't seen them yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
I haven't seen them yet. And
Yep.
we're able to do this because PTA donates $5,000 to Henderson Lodge. Henderson Lodge takes that to, I believe it's the Masonic Council of Missouri, I believe is the name. I could be wrong, but the Masons and the Shriners.
They're on the shoes, right?
They're
Is that
on the
what you're
shoes,
saying?
and so we give them $5,000, and they have given us back a check for $15,000 to shop with. So we have a Missouri entity from a local Missouri, like Rogersville,
Right.
Henderson
Yeah,
Lodge.
it's the local.
It's
that's
the
making
local
it's
that makes it
funneling
happen.
through the-
And each of the churches have
Yep.
come together and
Yep.
put in your budget. Not equal gifts, but equal sacrifice, right? Like
Yep.
everybody is whatever you can give. Churches have written a check, and then we go out and we shop and
Yep.
get all the school supplies. So there's not a child in the Rogersville area that should go to school without their backpack and all their school
You
supplies.
show up at school with your backpack, your new shoes, your hygiene items. You get clothing at the Wildcat Closet. There is no reason we can't put their best foot forward on the first day of school.
It's pretty awesome to see.
So.
The churches are doing it. PTA's doing it.
Yep.
What was the other one?
Henderson
Wildcat
Lodge,
Closet,
Jumps
yeah.
Up, all of it.
All
Yep.
of these just came together and said, let's
Yep.
do
and,
this.
and talk about mental health, mental wellness of
Yep.
our kids. I mean, that's, they're looking at, well, does he have a better backpack than me? Does he
Sure.
have better shoes than me? So when a kid can come to school, no matter what their socioeconomic status is,
Yep.
they come in and they're looking sharp on that first day of school. I mean, that's a huge thing. That's that old, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
That's absolutely right.
So, and there may not be, but if somebody was interested, maybe wanted to help with what you got going on at the health department, do you have a volunteer opportunities? or
We're
anything?
actually getting ready to partner with County Emergency Management and start what will be called a Medical Reserve Corps. We'd love to talk to folks. They can give us a call at that main number, 859-2532, and we'd be happy to talk to them about it.
Okay, sounds
Very
great.
good.
What else you guys got? Anything?
That was my big announcement.
That was your big
Yeah,
announcement right
yeah.
there. Awesome. Good.
Lots of exciting
Wanna-
things are happening.
Remind all the parents out there as a coach, get your physicals done.
Yeah.
Because if your kid shows up on Monday, the first day of practice, without a physical, they don't get to participate.
That's a fun thing
And
as a parent.
That's one training session they don't get, and you got to accumulate those before you can play the first game. So get your physicals done. If your kids are playing sports, they need to be ready to hand a coach on Monday.
Sounds good.
The
Scott,
school
any
sent out a thing.
parting
Actually,
thoughts
3
for us?
weeks.
You
till
know,
school starts.
just if there's anything we can do to be of relevance in your home or in your community, in an organization, your business, where the mobile unit can come out and do vaccines at businesses, give us a call and think outside the box, because we certainly do.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's good. Very
Scott,
good.
thanks for being here with us
Yeah,
today.
It was a
Really
pleasure.
appreciate
It's
it.
really
You're
great.
welcome
Thank you.
anytime. You want to come
Yeah.
and talk to the 7 or
now-
8 people that watch our show? We'd love to have
I
you.
would count on that.
There may be more than you realize. Had somebody on Sunday say, "Man, I watch your show every week. I laugh so hard." And I'm like, "Well, good.
Well, that's
Glad to know somebody's laughing. We are."
Hey, you can tune in every Tuesday. Come back next Tuesday. Laugh really hard with us. We don't know what we're going to say or who's going to be here, but we'd love to have you join us. Thanks for watching.